work for CompTIA. My name is Molly, forgive me. Start with that. And is anyone familiar with CompTIA? Yes, you've got what? Awesome, very cool. You're more credentialed than I am. Are you going to take it further, possibly?
Do I need to? I'm going to keep it up though.
I hear they've got a great doctorate and master's program, so I'm just saying. All jokes aside, CompTIA, for those of you who don't know, it is a credential or IT certification opportunity or nonprofit for the last 40 years that focuses on everything from IT entry. So if you want to just kind of learn the basics, you know, what is hardware, what is software. I took that class, and you know, everyone needs it every now and then. All the way to, we actually do the prerequisites for the DoD through the Sec Plus and, you know, through different credentials that are way above my head. But this is the market for Oklahoma. So what are, oh yeah, if you don't mind, thank you. Appreciate that. And so that's just a little kind of background of what CompTIA has done for the last 40 years. It's truly based in research and actually, you know, kind of studying the market, studying the position, studying the need. But I'm not here to talk about CompTIA. I'm here to kind of give you a very different story of how I actually was led to this position, you know, what got me there, and to encourage you guys to continue to learn and continue to push yourselves. So I got my start, I work for CompTIA, and most of the team of the researchers are doctors, masters, you know, excellence in their field. And I, back in school, college, I went to 3 different schools because I played tennis. So I made my rounds, and about year 4, third school, I had 120 hours that would not transfer. Old Testament wouldn't be taken at OU. I don't know why. And then, so you kind of get the idea. And I'm very ADHD, and I'm very hands-on. And so about the 4th year, I was sick of it. And so I, against my mother's wishes, dropped out and kind of did the hippie thing. And I was like, I want to help people. I'm doing marketing. I kind of like the psychology element. Where do I go from here? So I take my first job from a self-identified felon at a nonprofit who says, I was like, well, I don't have my degree. Is this okay? And he's like, I have, you know, his background. And it was excellent though, because he taught me, it was for Rescue Social Change Group out of San Francisco. And what they do is they focus on implementing positive social change in the culture through marketing, data, and analytics, and then by promoting cultural change by education. So pretty much, if I want to call it, having and hosting parties with educational elements and games for interaction. So almost tricking 18 to 21-year-olds to stop smoking through, you know, stats, and, as opposed to the truth campaigns, which is kind of scary on TV. So 6 years of working for them, fantastic, and we were responsible, our end result was Bricktown converting to non-smoking, making that a public policy. So worked myself out of a job, but I loved the data and I loved the analytics part, which was foreign to me, so I started working for an IT reseller in Oklahoma. Oil boom happened back in the day. I'm not going to date myself, but then I took off to Austin, where the tech startup scene was. And so that's why this is important to me, the Oklahoma job scene, because now it's much more built up. I mean, Techlahoma, you know, all the different opportunities. But first I had to kind of like make my way around, bounce through Austin, the startups, and how I did that was credentials and certifications. So first one was a startup. I had my mentor, Oz, teach me the art of asking questions, discovering the human element, but then the art of figuring out kind of what was needed in translation to tech. And so was interested, loved that, kind of did that for a little bit, and then led to Oracle University, which was enablement, so end user enablement for software. And how I got that job without a degree, without any credentials or anything like that, was by actually going through the program and taking the cert during the interview process. It took me a week. Interview process was 3 months, so I had plenty of time. And I beat out a guy with a Stanford MBA by having that little credential, because I could show how the tool worked as opposed to high level, you know, background. And stayed with them through the pandemic. It was a great honor because I felt like I was on the team that was enabling the physicians to have their modernization ERP project go through really quickly. So the doctors, you know, had their iPads and they were able to help patients fighting COVID in the moment on scene. And so loved that, and that really just sparked my interest for innovation. Going to, I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with Innocentive. Now they're called Wasoku, and it's based out of London, but they do the open innovation projects for the DoD. Okay. So kind of like it's basically taking a challenge and taking all of the idioms or industry phrasing, so what you were kind of describing with linguistics, and parsing it down to the true need and problem. And how I was able to work with them and do that was another credential. Went to the Oxford Online program and got the certified in strategic innovation. So start packing these things up. During the pandemic, I did finish school because I was bored. So I do have the marketing degree. I'm glad I capped it then, because that was the 10-year gap where I had to do it then or lose everything. So went ahead and did that, and then that led to open source. So Red Hat credentials, IBM. So I started learning that where technology has no vendor, no creator. It's just anyone can participate and anyone can add or evolve. And during this time, personal story was driving back and forth from Dallas to pretty much like a 45-minute set away, but my commute every day was 5 hours. Not enough podcasts in the world to make that fun or enjoyable. I'm just going to tell you that. I went through them all. I have exhausted podcasts. So, but that drive led to a little tiny ganglion cyst stress tumor in my hand. Super small, super stupid. I mean, the doctor said he could take a Bible and squish it, but he didn't go that route. He went with their surgery because it was interrupting a nerve and my hand was going numb. And so I was kind of typing it and just kind of go dead. So we need to do this because it's your dominant hand. Ex-tennis player, used to coach, professional pitching, so I use my hands a lot. And in tech, we type too much. And so I woke up 4 days later after that surgery, having had a MRSA infection, and pretty much it was botched. So that led to, I think I've had 18 different procedures, lost control. The final result was losing control of arm, and I think I was given a prognosis of 20% functionality moving forward, and that was the best I could expect. So moved in with my mom, not very fun at 37, having a curfew. It's still weird, still learning to adjust to that, but she basically had to teach me how to use my hands again and how to relive and how to work. And then I was gonna file for disability, went through the process, but I was like, I'm bored, I've gotta do something. And so I started looking for credentials or how to teach myself tech with accessibility components. And so I found CompTIA again because we used them at Wazoku for the international IP programs or intellectual property. And learned Tech Plus, actually learned about how to set stuff up, how computers work, how to use all the different tools, on every single system so that I could start working again. And that has been my physical therapy outside of painting. Here I am now with I think 70-80%, but still kind of dicey functionality and tactability. But then that really inspired me, I credit them for saving my life and giving me a new opportunity and a new chance. And so now my passion is evangelizing credentials and certifications for those who don't take the traditional academia path and maybe want to pivot into tech or change their lives. And so I'm the Oklahoma presence for the brand, but basically I focus on enterprises on the west side, but then also the nonprofits locally because that's where my heart is. So stuff like Bridge to Tech. It's a program where former inmates, or those with any type of kind of a complicated background, can go and take A+. That's one of our courses, and there's a 76% success rate in finding a job. So people that are working those $12 an hour jobs at gas stations, or anything. Hell, excuse my French, but a tattooed bartender, former college dropout now is able to work through their credentials. So I identify with that, and I think that people can change their lives through education. And I think the big inequity that we have in this world can be approached and solved through giving access to education, allowing people to better improve themselves and change their lives. And so my big takeaway is I consider myself and call my superhero power up to be a sponge, but to encourage you guys to keep challenging yourself and keep growing and keep pushing shit. Maybe not a doctorate program, that's a little bit high level, but if you've got an interest, seek it out and then get the certification, because really that's how you show you can do it. And it's, as opposed to having a resume, having a story, it's something technical. It's like, you built that, you did the labs, you can do the job. So if you have any questions or the job stuff, I wrote that down for people looking for jobs. I will be happy to help. So that's, what I love to do. But y'all, thank y'all.